Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, a suspicious man was escorted out of the Lower Mount Carmel dining hall by public safety and taken to Hamden Police. Learn what the man was supposedly doing and how the university community feels about the situation.
Plus, 2 protests have come to the Hamden community. One by the Stop and Shop workers on strike because of labor contracts, and one by members of the community protesting an officer-involved shooting that happened yesterday morning. And 3 university leaders have announced their departure from the university. Stay tuned to find out more about their time at Quinnipiac. It's 9:30 and we're getting started. It's the Q30 Newscast. Good evening and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm Joel Vanner. And I'm Luca Trion.
President Judy Olian announced that 2 university officials are planning to retire and one will be leaving. Lynn Bushnell, Vice President for Public Affairs, will retire in June 2019 after 25 years at Quinnipiac. Bushnell's retirement was long planned. Donald Weinbach, Vice President for Development and Alumni Affairs, will retire in June 2020. And Greg Eichhorn, Vice President for Admissions and Financial Aid, will leave the university at the end of June. Eichhorn came to Quinnipiac in 2016. President Olian states that the search for successors has already begun and that, quote, they have meant so much to our institution and to our students, staff, and faculty. We wish them the very best in the next chapters of their lives, end quote. A suspicious man came onto the Quinnipiac campus yesterday. Callie Keys has more on what this man was doing and why students are concerned about campus safety.
Quinnipiac Public Safety responded to reports of a suspicious man sitting right here in the lower calf yesterday. He was trying to get students to try Bang Energy powder. I talked to 2 students who were sitting right next to him.
And he was just coming up to different people and he was just offering them different substances and stuff.
While there, he posted on Facebook saying, quote, if anyone at Quinnipiac University wants to try Bang Energy powder for free, I'm here waiting in the dining hall while everyone ignores me, end quote.
He was like, do you want coffee, Adderall, some other different drugs?
That was when Mikitsu decided to call public safety about the situation.
DBS came right away because apparently they've had already gotten 4 or 5 different calls from other people.
Students say that when public safety officers got to the scene, they searched Allen's bag and Bang Energy powder bottle, pulling out several Ziploc bags with the white powder in it.
He said that he doesn't have a Quinnipiac ID, that he doesn't go to college, I think it was that he said, and that he admitted that he just walked onto campus.
And now some students are questioning how safe Quinnipiac's campus really is.
I don't feel comfortable with the fact that he was able to just walk on this campus and no one was able to say it, stop him or say anything about it, because it's just so easy to get on this campus.
While students acknowledge public safety officers are stationed at the gates to Quinnipiac's parking lots, they are also aware of how many open spaces there are on Quinnipiac's campus, where anyone can just walk on.
I feel like the accessibility from people walking on a campus maybe needs to be reevaluated. I know they're very strict at the gates with cars and stuff like that, but I feel like people could just walk on a campus and do something like that again.
Q30 News reached out to the university for a statement. Lynn Bushnell, Vice President for Public Affairs, said, quote, public safety responded promptly to report of an unauthorized male visitor in the Mount Carmel dining hall on Tuesday afternoon. After speaking with the man, the officers decided to detain him until the Hamden police arrived and escorted him off campus. After a similar situation happened back in November when an Uber driver followed a female to her dorm, students are hoping that this incident initiates a change in campus safety. They're hoping that they see more of these white cars on campus. Reporting in Hamden for Q30 News, Callie Keys.
President Judy Olian released an announcement on Quinnipiac's social media last night. She shared that residence hall upgrades on the Mount Carmel campus will begin in May, starting with Larson, Troop, and Pelroth. The rest of the upgrades will continue over the next 5 years, including the additional air conditioning. She also announced that there will be renovations to the Rocky Top Student Center, including more furniture, televisions, a pool table, and a bar with extended food services. Getting a bar in the Rocky Top Student Center was an initiative that the Student Government Association has been working on.
to get the administration to believe in the students that we won't mess up or we won't be having too many drinks or making a mess was really difficult, and I'm really thankful that the student body came to the events, supported the pub. We couldn't have done it without the whole class of 2019's help.
President Olean also spoke about the inauguration celebration, which will include topics such as academic work and student performances, while also mentioning the upcoming commencement.
An officer-involved shooting early Tuesday morning has sparked protests by members of the Hamden and New Haven communities. Hamden and Yale University police were investigating reports of a possible armed robbery located in a vehicle believed to be in New Haven. When police made contact with the occupants of the vehicle, police fired shots. A witness told WTNH News 8 that the occupants of the vehicle were unarmed, and police say the whole situation is under investigation. Devin Eaton, who is the Hamden officer involved in the shooting, was placed on desk duty pending the outcome of the Connecticut State Police investigation. The protests following this incident started at the Hamden Police Department and continued to Dixwell Avenue, where the protesters blocked traffic. Carrie Ellington, a Quinnipiac alumni participating in the protest, said that the actions taken by police for this were unconscionable.
The mayor, Lang, to fire these police officers, the Hamden police officers involved in the shooting immediately, and we want the body camera footage released immediately. The Hamden Police Department are under no cause to withhold that video camera footage. There's no legal grounding that they have to say that they have to withhold the footage. They can release the footage now. It's a bunch of BS when they say they have to wait for the state police investigation to be complete. That's a lie. They can release the footage right now if they wanted to. Give us the body cams! Give us the body cams! Black Lives Matter, y'all! It's important that we have even more of a massive gathering than what we have today to call for justice.
New Haven Mayor Tony Harp, Hamden Mayor Kurt Lang, and police chiefs from Hamden, New Haven, and Yale University had a conference call earlier this morning to discuss, quote, the situation and ways to prevent anything like it from happening again, end quote. Corinne McGovney-Tyrone, the woman identified in a racist tirade video at an East Haven ShopRite and former employee of Hamden Public Schools, will not be facing any charges. The state's attorney's office, according to East Haven Police, has declined to move forward with any more charges than a dual breach of peace arrest. East Haven Police, however, are declining to make dual arrests because they don't believe the victim deserves to be arrested.
The Student Government Association board members for the 2019-2020 academic year began the transition into their new positions today. The new executive board includes SGA President Austin Calvo, SGA Vice President as Sophie Marshall, Vice President for Finance as Glenn Adams, Vice President for Student Experience as Esau Green, Vice President for Marketing and Public Relations as Jamie Jean-Baptiste, and the Chief Justice is as Lily Gaeta. Q30 spoke with Jamie Jean-Baptiste about what he wants Quinnipiac students to see with next year's student government.
I hope the student body sees SGA in a more present sense. I hope they know that whenever there's something new that comes out, a new initiative, a new idea that we didn't have before, I hope they think, wow, SGA is doing something for me.
The Student Programming Board's annual spring concert, Wake the Giant, took place this past Saturday. Brooke Riley caught up with the organizers and some students to see how the event went.
The Student Programming Board hosted its annual Wake the Giant concert this past Saturday night. Headlining the concert was rapper Black Bear, along with opening act Bryce Vine.
We put out a survey every year that asks the entire student body what genre of music they would like to see, and this year it was voted that R&B and hip-hop and kind of rap were kind of the big things that this campus wanted to see.
Many of the students that attended enjoyed the performances.
My favorite part was the opener, Bryce Vine. I really didn't know who he was going into the concert, but he put on a great show, and the DJ was really awesome. He would occasionally whip out a trumpet, so it was really entertaining.
Some students attended the concert despite not knowing much about the artists.
The opening act, Bryce Vine, was there, and first of all, I didn't even know who he was, so I couldn't even sing to the songs. So I knew a lot of people didn't know the words to the songs as well, so it was kind of awkward. People were just standing.
However, concert attendance this year was much lower than years past.
Obviously with attendance, we didn't have a lot of people and we wanted everyone to be able to enjoy the concert as much as they could if they had attended. So we let anyone who had seats just come on down into the floor, but also unfortunately the barricades didn't book through correctly. So because there was no barricades, there was actually no way to block the people sitting on the seats to actually get to the floor. So instead of fighting people, we were just like, might as well open it up, and we didn't want anyone to feel like they had been gypped. So we're just giving the floor seat people back their $5 so that everyone's even.
Looking ahead to next year, SPB plans to send out more surveys to students to learn what genre and artists they would like to see. Brooke Riley, Q30 News.
A third case of measles in Connecticut has been reported in a New Haven County adult. The State Department of Public Health stated the person had contracted the illness in Brooklyn, New York. Officials have since said that the person has been contained. Vaccination rates in Connecticut are typically high, with 2017 to 2019 data suggesting over 96% of young children receive vaccinations against various illnesses. The recent shelter-in-place drill planned by the university's emergency management team didn't go quite as planned the first time. Keith Woodward, Associate Vice President for Facilities Operations, said there was a minor problem with the Rave Alert system that was supposed to send a text message, phone call, and an email to the university community. In a statement to Q30, Woodward said, quote, "Our plan was to send a Rave Alert, which includes a text, phone call, and email about the drill to the university community at 10:50 a.m. on Thursday, but a technical issue arose preventing the message from sending. After rectifying the issue with Rave, we resent the alert at 1:47 p.m. I think the drill was successful, but we have some takeaways to improve the process that will be discussed by the emergency management team," end quote. Woodward does state that overall he thought the drill was successful and that there will likely be more in the future.
The Advising Support Center in the College of Arts and Science is getting a major upgrade. An announcement posted on the CAS website describes how the new space will be larger than the current support center. We'll offer services such as drop-in advising, career and development workshops, and special guests from other campus offices. The new space will be open by the 2019 fall semester. The commencement speakers for both the graduate and undergraduate ceremonies were announced yesterday. The first ceremony for the School of Medicine will feature Dr. Pamela Wiebel, who is a family physician and pioneer on the ideal medical care movement. The Graduate Business Communications and Education ceremony will have John F. Lansing, CEO and Director of the United States Agency of Global Media. The Graduate College of Arts and Sciences, Health Sciences and Nursing ceremony will have Dr. Reggie Edel, who is the President and CEO of Trinity Health of New England. The Undergraduate School of Health Sciences and Nursing ceremony will have Brian Donahue, who is a transplant recipient. Motivational speaker, author, and veteran. The Undergraduate College of Arts and Sciences and Communications ceremony will feature poet and author Reginald Dwayne Betts. The Undergraduate School of Business and Engineering ceremony will feature Javier Polit, Chief Information Officer and Procter & Gamble. Coming up after the break, protests continue from Stop and Shop workers who are unhappy with proposed labor contracts.
And Kelly Ryan joins us with an update on a weekend of tornadoes. All that and more in her national news update.
Thanks, guys. So today was a beautiful day. Let's just get into a quick weather update. Today was a gorgeous day. However, coming up in the next 2 days, there will be some rain with a high of 53 degrees on Thursday. And make sure to stay tuned after this commercial break to get your 7-day forecast and some current Connecticut temperatures.
Stop and Shop employees across the state and beyond are still on strike. The end does not seem to be in sight. Q30's Carrie Golden has more from the workers at the Hamden Stop and Shop.
Stop and Shop workers are continuing their picket lines after walking off the job last Thursday.
The way I feel right now, they don't value me at all. And I don't think I want to work for a company anymore that doesn't value their people, that works so hard for them.
Protesters are outside majority of all the Stop and Shop grocery stores in the state of Connecticut, urging people not to go in and shop. This strike is happening after corporate is taking away benefits and better pay for the workers.
They wanted to take our Sunday, we get time and a half on Sunday, they want to take that away. They wanted to take away no raises and just give us a bonus. They wanted to up for the full-timers, they wanted to up their, for their insurance. They wanted up their premiums, their deductibles, everything.
Protesters have now been out here for more than 5 days and have no plans of going anywhere anytime soon.
No matter how long we're going to be on strike, we don't know when we're going to finish, but like I said, we family, and I'm here to the end.
Some people have still gone in the store, and one woman said that she went in there purely because of convenience and because she had to make dinner very quickly. Others have gone in and said that the conditions are very dirty, cakes are on the floor, and there's barely any workers inside. These protesters say that they are winning and are hoping that corporate does something soon. Reporting from Hamden, Carrie Golden, Q30 News.
This week is Student Employee Appreciation Week. Quinnipiac is celebrating its student employees by hosting several events. Yesterday, a free lunch of pasta, pizza, and dessert and more were served to student workers in the piazza. There was also a raffle, and the Student Employee of the Year was announced as Richard Petrosing. Today's student employees were recognized on the North Haven campus with a free ice cream sundae bar. The Center for Excellence Award nomination deadline has been extended until April 26. The Center for Excellence is looking for nominees for two of their awards, the Excellence in Service to Students Award and the Excellence in Teaching Award. If you would like to nominate someone for one of these awards or learn more about what recipients receive, visit the announcement on MyQ. Organizations Community Action Project and Relay for Life held a care package packing event on Monday. Students who attended also had the opportunity to put written notes in support to those receiving the packages. On top of helping package the boxes, the care packages are being sent to homeless shelters and other organizations that support homeless people, along with children's hospitals in the area.
As part of the People's United Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Spring Speaker Series, Charlotte O'Banion and Brenda and Carlton O'Neill spoke in the School of Business earlier today. O'Banion is the president and CEO of GBG, a corporate gift service. Brenda and Carlton O'Neill are founding and managing partners of Speedlight EDU, an e-learning company. A massive fire devastated large parts of the 850-year-old Notre Dame Cathedral, taking out the cathedral's iconic large spire. French President Emmanuel Macron pledged Tuesday that the cathedral would be fully restored within the next 5 years, which is in time for the 2024 Paris Summer Olympics. But some experts in architecture say it could take 2 decades. Quinnipiac Junior's Sarah Hios was there just days before it happened, and she spoke to Q30 earlier today.
So sad, especially for those who live in Paris and are from Paris, just see something so huge just crumble, and all the work they were putting into it and how long it's been around.
And back to United States news. 30,000 runners took to the streets of Boston Monday to run the famed Boston Marathon.
And speaking of running, don't leave your car engines running because the price of gasoline is on the rise. Here to update us on everything in the nation is Kelly Ryan. Kelly?
Thanks, guys. An outbreak of severe weather, including tornadoes, tore through southern and eastern states over the weekend. 9 people were killed, dozens of people were injured, and the storms left behind widespread destruction. 21 total tornadoes were confirmed in 8 states, including Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Ohio. Strong winds and gusty thunderstorms closer to home impacted Washington, D.C. and New York, bringing some flash flooding to some of those areas. But in Massachusetts, 15,000 people were left without power, causing a delay to the start of the Boston Marathon. And speaking of the Boston Marathon, while the weather could have been better, it didn't stop the 30,000 runners from taking off from the start line Monday morning. In one of the most thrilling finishes in Boston Marathon history, Lawrence Cherono of Kenya just edged out the win over Lalisa Desisa of Ethiopia in the men's race. The two were shoulder to shoulder in the final stretch, but in the end, Cherono beat Desisa by 2 seconds. The first American man to cross the finish line was Scott Fauble. He finished 7th. Former Marine from Ohio, Micah Herndon, crawled his way across the finish line after his legs locked out near mile 22. He did not give up. Herndon said he drew inspiration from 3 of his Marine brothers that didn't survive overseas. And lastly, the national average gas price jumped 10 cents after spring maintenance ramped up for refiners. Prices on the West Coast increased as much as 20 cents, which drove the national average to $2.83 this week. California is being hit with over $4 a gallon, the priciest state at the pump so far. Gas prices in the Golden State haven't been that high since 2014. Even a year ago, the national average was 10 cents more than it is today. The states seeing the highest increases besides Cali include Nevada with an 18-cent climb, Missouri with a 13-cent increase, and Oregon dishing out a 12 more cents a gallon. That's all for this week's news from around the nation. Joel and Luca, back to you.
If you've got big outdoor plans this weekend, you'll want to stick around, although you may not hear good news.
Plus, this week's political news update and more right after this break.
Let's get right into our 7-day outlook. So like I said before, today was a beautiful and sunny day with a high of 61 and a low of 42. However, as we move into these next 2 days, we're going to see some rain with a high of 53 on Thursday and a low of 50, and a high of 63 on Friday and a low of 59. Now, as we move into this holiday weekend, we will not have rain on Saturday. However, there will be some rain on Sunday with a high of 61 and a low of 44. As we move into the week, though, the rain will go away and we will see the sun again. That's all I have for you guys today.
The election may be over a year away, but future presidential candidates have been making news headlines.
That's right, Joel. There's been a lot going on with presidential candidates and the Mueller report. We have Patty Folk to give us more on Washington.
Pete Buttigieg, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, announced that he will be running in the 2020 presidential race. He is the first openly gay candidate in the race. He said in an interview, quote, "The future calls for hopeful, audacious voices in our community. And yes, it calls for a new generation of leadership in this country," end quote. However, not everyone is thrilled about the Buttigieg's sexual orientation. At a rally in Iowa, a protester stood up and shouted, quote, "You betray your baptism," end quote. The man was later removed. Buttigieg responded back to the crowd saying, quote, "We're so dug in such passionate ways, and I respect that too. That gentleman believes that what he is doing is in the line of what the will of the Creator. I do it differently. We ought to be able to do it differently," end quote. Tomorrow morning, Attorney General William Barr will release the special counsel Robert Mueller's redacted report on the Russia investigation. The report is more than 300 pages. Those close to Trump are worried that when the information becomes public, it may be unflattering. Trump's one-time communications director, Anthony Scaramucci, said, quote, "There's 400 pages of information, and somebody like the president would have the sense to know that in 400 pages, there's more than syllables. There's likely paragraphs that probably are going to look not great for him, or people in the administration, or people in the transition," end quote. President Trump won't be reading the report. Instead, he'll be having his legal team brief him on the findings after they go through everything. While in London, former First Lady Michelle Obama did an interview about her memoir titled Becoming. In her interview, she compared President Trump to a divorced dad, saying, quote, "We come from a broken family. We are a little unsettled. Sometimes you spend the weekend with divorced dad. That feels like fun, but then you get sick. That's what America is going through. We are living with divorced dad," end quote. Well, that's all I have for the politics tonight. Back to you guys at the desk.
There are lots of sports to cover. We have Brian Schwartz coming up after this break. We now have our sports report from Brian Schwartz.
Thanks, guys. It's coming down to the final stretch in the MAC men's lacrosse season. And Quinnipiac kicked off this weekend with a huge conference matchup against Marist. And let's jump to the third period in Hamden, where we checked out the highlights. Marist up by 1 after a comeback from a 5-3 deficit. It's James Lyons storming in for his third goal of the day, a hat trick, his 10th of the year. It's 7-5 Marist. Fourth quarter, Quinnipiac down 1. Mike Fletcher, hello, all knotted up at 8 a few seconds later. Marist took a 1-goal lead, and Jojo Pareka gets his second of the game. Red Foxes up 10-8, and the Red Foxes would win it 12-8. Here's head coach Mason Polly following the game about his squad.
I thought we did a nice adjustment. The first half they had us, we were 1 of 7 in the first half. Kind of made an adjustment, went to a different guy. He did a really good job. I think we could have used a couple more possessions there. We were winning a lot and then turning it over early on. Near the end of the game, we got a little bit better, but those extra possessions in a tight game like this near the end could have helped a lot.
Polly's squad now 3-2 in league play, 4th in the MAC with 2 conference games left. Now on to the Diamond. Quinnipiac softball had a busy week. 2 out-of-conference doubleheaders, both splits with local foes Sacred Heart and Hartford. Then Quinnipiac hosted Siena Sunday and was swept in that doubleheader. Today, Lauren King stole the show, tossing a complete game shutout in Quinnipiac's Game 2 win after dropping the first to Marist. Now 5-7 in MAC play. Quinnipiac has a 3-game series with Ryder coming up on Saturday. Now, Quinnipiac men's ice hockey has some former players making big moves in the NHL playoffs. Devon Taves, in his first season with the Islanders, appeared in all 4 games in the round 1 series victory against the Penguins. 4 straight wins for this former Bobcat and his Islanders. They're moving on after the sweep. Connor Clifton also appeared in the first 2 games for his Boston Bruins. Clifton in Boston is down 2-1 in that series with Toronto right now. And that's all for sports. Pretty cool to see those Bobcats representing on the big stage. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Brian. Dry cleaners are important for those who sport professional attire like us, but one dry cleaner in Hamden is looking to give a little more to society.
That's what Rainbow Cleaners in Hamden is looking to give with their witty street sign humor. Let's hear more.
On Whitney Avenue in Hamden, there's a corner where dirty meets clean.
My father saw this was for sale, and he said, why don't we buy this one, and then we can have 2 establishments.
In 1948, Arthur and Richard Veneres opened their business on Dixwell Avenue, and a few years later, they opened a second location on Whitney Avenue. Fast forward to today, Arthur's 3 children run Rainbow Cleaners, and they have kept nearly everything the same since their father passed.
For more than 47 years, this sign behind me has been changing each month. Currently, the owners are in the process of changing the sign, and Hamden residents say that the sign behind me never goes unnoticed.
I think everybody in the community who drives Whitney Avenue notices when they change their signs.
And it all came from Arthur's booklet from 1961.
When my father started to get sick, I said, there's certain things about this business that I know could be lost when my father goes. And so I took his book, and there's all these sayings in it, and that's where a lot of them come from.
And Hamden residents say they are never let down when passing the rainbow sign.
Everybody in Hamden knows that Rainbow Cleaners is going to have a different sign at different times of the year.
When you drive by on Whitney Avenue, don't forget to look up and find the rainbow.
And my father, again, was always telling us as he got older, don't let anything happen to that sign.
And nothing ever happened to that sign. Olivia Schuler, Q30 News.
And that will do it for the Q30 Newscast this evening. Thank you for watching. Be sure to visit our website at q30tv.com for all of your news, sports, and entertainment.
And follow us on Twitter for fast news updates on what's happening at Quinnipiac and then in the local community. For Luca Triant, I'm Joel Vanner. Good night.